Hello again, Pastor Michael Jarbo here. Welcome to another edition of Soul Care, conversations to help renew the spirit. I'm glad you're here. Check out today's episode. Well, here we go again, another edition of Soul Care. Pastor Michael Jarbo here today with Father Jacob Breeze. How are you, my friend? How are you doing, man?
And if I was any better, I couldn't stand it. How are you?
Oh man, this is gonna be fun. I'm living the dream, brother. This is, what do you say in times that are so wild, so different? It's day by day. And as a man in ministry like yourself, I hope you're caring for yourself, and I'm trying to do the same as well.
Shoot, I'm here with you. This is good for my soul already. I miss you, man.
Same. I didn't share this in any kind of, I was trying to do the math. We've known each other for over a decade, brother, which is so cool.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We went to a discernment.
My beard was not gray then.
Your beard was not gray. I didn't have a beard. I barely even knew how to shave back then. And, we went to that your kind of mentor, my mentor said, hey, our mentees need to get together. It was you and I, and we just chilled and journeying together while I was up in Chicago and you were in Durham at Duke. What a gift.
Yeah, your friendship helped me through that retreat. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. It was same dude. And so still being friends today and doing ministry in Houston. I can't wait for people to hear about your ministry today. So can you get started and just share a little bit about how you got here and why church work in Houston today, and share a little bit of your story to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. So I am a priest in the Episcopal Diocese of Texas, and I'm serving a congregation called Holy Family. And Holy Family is a church for people without a church, and we help people lead Jesus-centered lives. Now, how did I get doing that? That is on God. The living God. Living God has always found a way to get to me, even frankly when I kind of wanted God to back off. I guess as I think about it, there's a lot, but there's at least 4 major moments that got me serving God the way that I do today. So the first is, I guess I'm 9 years old and I'm baptized, and I got baptized because my friend was baptized.
Right.
And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. Are you hearing any of that?
It's good. Hey, it's good background music. I'll take it.
Yeah. Can you actually hear it?
No, I can't. Not too bad. It's fine.
Okay, good.
You're cool.
Good. I've got this new thing on the mic, and it's like actually working, so perfect.
Right on.
So I was 9, and I got baptized because my friend got baptized, and he had all of his family get together for a meal afterward. And I thought it'd be so cool to get all of my family together for a meal. And the living God just seized on that opportunity and said, "Oh, you want a family, huh? I'm going to give you the church." And you want a meal, do you? Good. Yeah, it's called the Eucharist. And I should have known then that the hijinks of a living God were never going to stop in my life. The second moment or scene would be kind of as a young person. I was pretty on and off with church, actually, and that was because my dad was incarcerated, from time to time, and I don't think the church really knew quite how to help me. I knew that I wanted something more than like corny or cringy game time with others, because my friends and I, we knew how to keep ourselves occupied. We didn't need the church to like organize game time for us. What I needed and wanted was to talk with somebody about how hard life can be, when you have to go talk to your dad through glass or whatever. And I think it was, I don't know. It might have been my desire for a more serious church that tipped God off that underneath that is a deep love for the church. Not necessarily for what it is, but for what it could be. Third moment would be figuring out why it is that God was trying to call me into, ministry when I identified as an artist. I mean, that's the earliest identifier I had in life. I'm an artist.
Right.
I love to paint. I love to draw still. I don't know if you, I don't know if you know this or not, but for many years I took ballet and tap and jazz dance
You.
lessons. And oh yes,
Wow. It
oh
all
yes.
makes sense. It all makes sense.
I was elected the president of my thespian troupe in high
Oh,
school, and
very cool.
started a few bands in high school. Always, always the bass player.
Always.
Yeah, no question. And I love to. That's exactly right. I couldn't sing and still can't, but I always loved to read and write. And when I looked at clergy, I didn't see myself in them at all, at least the clergy that I knew of. And I knew that I couldn't fake it. So I just kind of said to God, I don't know what you're doing. Just, go talk to somebody else, because I don't know why someone like me would become a clergy person. And I kind of thought maybe God would relent, but didn't. So fourth moment would be a few days after I turned 16. My dad dies in jail by suicide, and the way that I dealt with that loss was putting my new driver's license to work and started visiting a different church that was about 30 minutes away, because I thought maybe they could help me. And when I walked in, they didn't know my story, and so I could be anonymous. And that church taught me so much. And even though today that church and I would talk differently than one another about some parts of the Christian life, there's no doubt that they were there for me when I really needed someone to be there. And that changed my life, truly. And now there's another 15 years here that really we needed to work stuff out. But here we are. And a few years ago, say, okay, I think, I started asking clergy people, hey, if you weren't employed by the church that you were employed by, would you choose to go to that church? And I didn't want my answer to be no. And so God, to be privileged enough to co-create a church that I would actually want to attend with some friends. And so that turned into a church that is trying to engage with ancient traditions, but put them in the hands of today's artists as we think about what kind of city tomorrow needs. All along the way, trying to be explicit in our commitments to anti-racist practices and LGBTQ inclusion, all in the name of Jesus. And so, I didn't necessarily think any of it up, but this is the way that God has kind of got me into this. So that's probably more information than you wanted.
No.
But
Oh gosh.
that's kind of how I got into doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so appreciative of that answer, and thank you for walking us through. And
Sure.
It's part, you get that. I think you and I both have received that question, whether in a very formal setting or at lunch one day with a buddy, about how in the world we got into this. It's important to know those indicators throughout our lives to see about our calling as leaders in the church. And so, thanks for sharing that. That was interesting.
Of course.
And now I look at ballet slippers in a whole different way with you.
Right.
So, I kind of told you a little bit before, but this Zoomcast podcast, call it what you will, has been so beneficial in regards. Jarbocast. Wow. Okay.
I said it.
It changed that just changed everything. No, it's been good to help for folks' souls. I think people have this pandemic and all that's gone on in our lives over the past 12, 15 months has been, it's been a lot to hold and carry. And folks have tried their best to carry it all without any sort of inner support, except for what they had before. And what I've found is people have said,
like yoga, it has stretched a muscle that I didn't know existed,
Mm. Oh yeah. Wow. Uh-huh.
and spiritually. And so, kind of,
Sure.
I've been asking people for months now about how they have helped or how they've kept care of their soul. Let's start there
Mm.
first. How have you, Jacob, cared for your soul
Mm.
during this pandemic? What have you done?
Mm.
What's helped you along the way?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, uh, most significantly is trying to keep up with the living God, what God is trying to do in me and through me, and even in spite of me. And really, for me, there are just some predictable ways of doing that. And what has worked has been me um, as an artist, really giving myself permission to um, watch the movie if I want to watch the movie, to give myself permission to go in the garage and paint the picture. I've painted a lot during this pandemic. To give myself permission to just read the book, listen to the album. Um, all of this, of course, is on top of those predictable ways of trying to keep up with God, of journaling and writing and reading the scriptures. I've also done a lot of cooking this pandemic, and that has been so good for my soul. I've loved watching how I've stretched myself as a cook and learning how to cook rather than simply how to um, follow a recipe, if that distinction makes any sense.
Sure.
Um, and then, I just love being inspired by great artists. And so, for me, the more creative that I can be and the more that I watch other people make great art, the more my soul feels cared for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so, okay,
Yeah.
then that transitions beautifully well into the other question is, how have you seen your congregation, which, as you kind of
Mm.
shared, has been is a lot of artists, a lot of creatives who have found,
Mhm.
not solely, but
Sure.
who have gravitated towards Holy Family. What
Yeah.
have you seen them do? What sort of practices have you invited your congregants into? That maybe
Mm.
someone even that lives on the west side, which you're in the kind of the east side part of
Yeah.
our great city, that they
Yeah.
can take from. Like, what have been some things or tips that you've witnessed within your
Mm.
group?
Yeah. Interesting. Um, well, a lot of things. Big highlights. So, Lanicia Rouse Tinsley is one of our ministry leaders. And one of the things, we stand. One
Yeah.
of the things that she does is she curates a series online for us on our Instagram weekly called Creativity and Spirituality. And what she does is she invites people to stand at what she calls the fragile intersection of uh, theology and the arts, or spirituality and creativity, in hopes of inviting brave exploration. And so she and other professional artists basically just let us into their studio and into their practice for a day. And sometimes just simply listening in to somebody else's world,
Yeah.
seeing how somebody else is managing their vocation in a global pandemic can just be really beneficial. Um, for example, like one of the artists that Lanicia invited to share with us is a poet named Padre Gotuma. And uh, now, honestly, poetry is not like necessarily my thing, but you should have seen how enriched the people who were on that Zoom with Lanicia and Padre, how enriched they felt. And you could just tell that this was like feeding their souls by
Mm.
spending time with an amazing poet. So, um, for me, I have noticed people uh, tend to their souls by trying to bravely walk into this space of, well, to use Lanisia's language, this fragile intersection of creativity and spirituality. And you find out that people find out a lot about themselves and a lot about God and a lot about who they are in God when they do that. There's this scholar named Natalie Carnes, and she's done this beautiful book on Saint Gregory of Nyssa that was really helpful to me. And she says that for Nyssa, beauty is one of God's names.
Wow.
And I find in this community that when we give people an opportunity to engage in beautiful and creative work, they find that their souls feel alive. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what I'm seeing: creativity, beauty, and really trying to explore that.
Okay. Oh man, there's so much to unpack there. I love that wording, fragile intersection. So how,
Yeah.
like, what's either from your perspective or Lanicia, how does someone who doesn't even know how to even enter that space do? Give me baby steps. How do I enter into the fragile intersectionality of faith?
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of sounding self-promotional, which is not what I want to do. I mean, check out the Holy Family and creativity and spirituality, because part of what these artists will do is when they share part of their work and their life in a studio, we've also asked each of them to, every time they're there, to offer a creative prompt to the people who are checking it out. And so we've seen a million different things. Like, I'll give you one example that immediately comes to my mind off the top of my head. There's an artist named Allie Wallace, and she said, okay, just get a piece of paper and go somewhere where shadows are cast onto your paper, and then trace the lines of the shadow on your paper, and then move the paper and then trace more shadows. And then by the end of it, you have this really interesting abstract drawing that requires, basic tracing skills. And then it launches, then she like pivots into this whole thing about shadows, right? And exploring, the good work that can be done in the shadows. So to me, that's the basic two-step. Do one thing creative, and then ask yourself, okay, how is this an invitation into a deeper form of reflection? So I just traced a shadow. Are shadows scary to me? Are they exciting? Do they make me nervous? I mean, and then you're off, right? So
yeah. Ooh, that's good. No, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for sort of it begins with using the resources that you have. You don't have to go dig these out. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be, right?
Yeah, just grab a little like 3x5 card and trace the shadows on it.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Good. So, okay, turning it back to you, Father Breeze. Father Breeze. We're constantly
Jacob is my name. Jay Breezy is what you normally call me.
Feels good. Feels right. You're just stretching that a little bit. So
I get it.
Jacob. Tell me, what's something you've learned about yourself over the course of this past year? I can really say past year because we're almost at the year mark. Pandemic really picked up. So what's something that you've learned about yourself in pandemic life?
Yeah. Well, I think probably the same thing that pandemic life has taught everybody else, and that is all of our suspicions about ourselves are true.
Okay, all right, say more about that. Come on.
Well, I mean, look, there is an inescapability here that
Yeah.
we used to have we used to have these escape portals. Um, I mean, I'm still very busy, perhaps busier than ever. Um, but I don't know, it's like when you work with a good therapist, right? And they just kind of hold up the mirror and give you an opportunity to bravely explore what you see. I mean, I don't know if this is the case for you or not, but for me, it's like, well, there is a the prolonged nature of this pandemic has been to say, well, look, there's some things about who you are that you don't really have the luxury of not dealing with anymore because you got a lot of time on your hands and you're not seeing a lot of other people. So
Right.
some of this interior work, if you want to call it that, that can often be put off by staying busy out there, it lingers. And so I have discovered that this pandemic has made it more difficult to put off the interior work than before. I don't know. Does that track with your experience at all, or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Uh-huh. Yep. And it's one of those things where it has I've had to um I've had to not say back burner again,
Mm,
or order a larger oven, to for speaking of cooking, to push it further back on
yeah.
the grill, and say I'll
Yeah.
deal with it later. And
Right.
because it's been exposed in a raw way that has said, no longer can it be pushed aside. I have to
Mhm.
take care of it right now, and which has
Yeah.
been good because. And the thing is, you have to take care. You have to look at this right now in the mirror,
Mhm.
and you've got the time. You can't slip out of not having the time here. And so I've really
Yeah.
had to address some things in
Mhm.
myself, in my relationships, in my work
Mhm.
life balance that have
Right.
forced me to say, time, time to take care.
Yeah. 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 Same.
And I've been grateful for it, but it hasn't been easy. And
No,
so,
sometimes it hurts.
yeah, it does. Yeah, what I'm finding is it has hurt uh, for everyone, and so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, that's right.
That's for me, Jacob. Maybe
Mm,
the unacknowledged solidarity of
mm.
knowing I'm, not everyone's like I'm hurting,
Sure.
but
Right.
everyone is. I heard a quote one time by Dan Allender, who
Mm.
went and spoke. He's a professor up in Seattle. He spoke at Ecclesia Church, a neighboring church from where you're at,
Okay.
and
Yep.
said, regardless of if your house got damaged during Hurricane Harvey or not,
Mm. Mm.
no one is leaving unscathed with grief.
Right.
And I think the same can be said here. And it's not just like my friends in New York don't know about Harvey stuff because they don't live here. It's everyone. Everyone has
Yeah.
been affected to some degree. And so,
Yeah. That's right.
in a weird, and hopefully this is not like a weird, sick way, but it
Mm.
gives me a little bit of grace to know I'm not in it alone.
Mhm. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. I mean,
Just always,
that is the unique. Yeah. I mean, that is the solidarity of this is one of the more profoundly unique things about it.
yeah,
So,
good.
mm.
All right, Jacob, you've made it to the final question. You did it, man. You made it to the
This
final
feels like
question.
the final. This feels like the final wing on Hot Ones. Is this where we put the dab on?
Yeah, where is that? Dude, I should have sent wings to your house. Just ding dong. Just like someone's here and you just had this hot wing for this final one. Maybe we do that one time in the future. John Wesley, are you familiar with him? I know.
Yeah, he's one of our guys. He's an Anglican priest. Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you? I was setting that up for a big old spike on the old Episcopal squint.
Yep.
Oh man. So our boy J Dubs, John Wesley, founder of Methodist
Yep.
Church,
Yep.
would often ask the question, "How is it with your soul?" And it's very different question than "How are you doing today?" or "What's up?"
Yeah, sure.
It's a little more profound than that. And so we
Yeah.
end every single soul care by asking our friend who joins us that question. So I ask you today, Father Jacob Breeze,
Yeah.
how is it with your soul today?
Yeah. I'm in a good place right now, truly. And I feel really good about the work that we're doing. Um, there's this great David Bowie interview that he gave once where he was talking about the work of an artist, and he said, "Never play to the gallery." Uh, he said, "But you don't learn that until much later on in life." He says, "Never work for other people at what you do. Always remember that the reason that you initially started working was that there was something inside yourself that you felt that if you could manifest it in a certain way, you would understand more about yourself and how you're coexisting with the rest of society." And he goes on to talk about how he thinks it's terribly dangerous for artists to, fulfill other people's expectations. And he thinks they generally produce their worst work when they do that. And he says if you feel safe in the area that you're working in, it's probably not the right area. He says go a little further out into the water than you feel like you're capable. Go a little bit out of your depth. And he says when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
Wow.
Now I come back to that interview a lot in times of strength and in times of weakness. And um, right now, when I think about that, um, the kind of work that we're up to right now, it really kind of makes my soul just feel alive and exciting to do that kind of work that just feels like, oh man, it has the right amount of to borrow a line from the Book of Common Prayer, this is only going to work with God's help. On my own, we don't have a shot, but with God's help, we can do some pretty exciting stuff here. And so today, my soul feels there. I feel pretty good about it. So,
Good. Beautiful answer. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah. And a little David Bowie quote, never hurt nobody.
Nobody.
All right, brother. So now we've got the rapid 10 questions. We'll file you out. These are 10 quick questions that I absolutely stole from Brene Brown. And
hey, great.
Saint Brene, as we call her.
Another wonderful member of the Episcopal Diocese of Texas.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in. All right, we got 10 questions for you, brother. Here you go.
Yep. Right.
And just answer them as quick as you will, and we'll just move right on through. Number one, in one word, fill in the blank. Life is
a gift.
You're called to be brave, but you feel real fear begin to kind of well up in you. What's the first thing that you do?
Well, I've had a few of those moments. And for me, it's really straightforward. You make the list of the most ridiculously wise and ridiculously smart people that you absolutely trust, and then you work down that list and you listen really intently to all of their advice. And the more diverse advice you can get from that group, the better. But then you put it away and you make your own decision, because you're the one who has to live with it. And this is something that Tupac talks about, right? He says that a lot of people have a problem looking in the mirror because it forces you to look directly into your soul. And he says some people don't want to do that because they sold their soul. And I find that decisions that require kind of that amount of bravery your soul's always up for sale, and that's kind of what it's about. This decision that I need to make, what decision can I make that doesn't, put my soul on the market? And I find that that's really an option, and it's not like off the option. It's not off the table simply because you're working in a church. Sometimes it's even worse. But for me, that's how I make sense of it. Listen to really great people and then figure out how I can live with it without selling my soul.
Question 3. What is something people often get wrong about you?
Ooh, what's up? I'll give you the first one. Um, that I spend time thinking about what other churches are doing. I think some people, if they're clergy, they kind of assume, oh, well, you must know, you must be watching and see what other churches are doing. And I think non-clergy people just kind of assume all we do is live in our own little church world. And the truth is, I can't tell you what other churches are doing. We have more than enough work to do here, and I'm just trying to keep my head down. And when I'm trying to be creative, I think when I go to places for inspiration, I try to go and look at other artists and other industries so that we don't get caught in an echo chamber of church speak and church way of life and just kind of recycle ideas that maybe don't actually work. So, that's probably that would be one of them. Like, oh, you're a clergy person, you must just only think about church stuff. I don't.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
Question number 4. What's the last TV show you binged and loved?
Oh, dude, I watch too much TV.
I know you
I
do.
mean,
I met with our district superintendent for our school district here, and she
yeah.
was, don't watch much TV. I knew this question posed to you could really
Yeah.
be. So just say 1 or 2 that come to mind.
Okay, so the most recent ones
Okay.
that I loved. Now I'm really late to the game on this, but I won't offer commentary on it other than I loved it. Is Breaking Bad. Really late to the game, and there's no question that it's in the top 3 best TV shows of all time. With my eldest daughter, we just watched a really cool anime called Hunter x Hunter. And if you haven't seen Ted Lasso yet, oh my gosh, have you watched Ted Lasso?
Oh, I've seen Ted Lasso. Oh yeah. Oh, dude, there's some humor in there that just knocks me off my feet. I mean, rolling. And my wife is looking over, and she's just like, she laughs, but not the deep belly laughs I get with that show.
Oh yeah, I had to pause that show a couple times and say, okay, I'm gonna run that back again because that was just perfect. It's so good.
What is your favorite movie?
Ooh. Okay, now that's different than like what is the best movie. Favorite movies would be anything with Denzel. I think he is almost without question the finest actor of all time. And anything made by Christopher Nolan or Tarantino.
Okay. A concert that you'll never forget.
Ooh. Sting, not the Police, Sting with the London Royal Philharmonic Orchestra backing him up.
Where was that?
Cynthia Woods Pavilion.
Ooh, right up 45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was the last concert you went to before the pandemic?
That is a great question. Leslie and I were going to go to the rodeo to see Lizzo.
Yes.
And we didn't make it because it got canceled.
Yeah.
That was on our radar. Geez Louise. I think, yeah. That's the first. What about you?
Jay-Z.
Okay.
Toyota Center. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
It's great.
Moving on. Jealous. What are you reading right now, Jacob Reese? Another question, because you're a big time reader. What are you reading right now?
Yeah, Willie Jennings, professor at Yale Divinity School, his book that he did the first piece in it and then curated the rest, called After After Whiteness. And then, oh, no, I take that back. He actually did all of After Whiteness. He did a second book that just came out that he curated. He did all of After Whiteness. So reading that one, reading Phil Jackson's 11 Rings. I'm waiting for Amazon to deliver the latest English translation of Origen Psalms commentary. Don't at me.
It's right up your alley.
It is. And then, I just finished a book by John Baer called Becoming Human that was really, really cool. So,
great. Give us a snapshot of a moment in your life that brings you joy.
Oh, easy. Whenever I can make my kids laugh. When I can make my kids laugh, that's the best sound in the world. I mean, it's as good as it gets for me.
Tell me one thing you are deeply grateful for right now.
Yeah, truly grateful to be serving God with the people that we do, with Holy Family and the diocese. I mean, it's just having good work that you love to do. There's a whole lot of people right now that would just take work, period.
Right.
So to have good work that I actually love that's gratitude, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Final question. You've made it to number 10. When our time here on earth is done, what do you hope the first thing God says to you will be when you reach heaven?
And also with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Breen. That's like the end of a movie, just like the boom.
And yeah.
Oh, brother, it's been a gift. Thank you for this time on Soul Care. A lot of great nuggets of wisdom and information in there that's been so helpful. Thank you for caring for my congregation, and know I care for yours. And brother,
love you, man. It's just good to be with you.
Same.
Can't wait until we can, get on the other side of this vaccinated life and hang out.
Yes.
Have a cup of coffee outside. That'd be great.
Looking forward to it, my man. Have a great one.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Thank you so much for checking out Soul Care. Join us again next week at noon on Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye.